I'm Chantal Roberts, and I'm an expert witness for claims handling standards, practices, and procedures. I was an adjuster for 20 plus years. The Art of Adjusting is a vlog to help professionals and lay people alike understand a bit more about the insurance claims industry. We'll be talking about burst pipes, quote unquote flooding or water damage, and sump pump damages. So, what causes a burst pipe besides the cold weather? We know that ice expands, but it's not actually the ice that causes the pipe to freeze. Without getting into too much scientific detail, with Simon here to help us out, I've been wondering when he would help us out with our vlog. We have uh, water that's frozen in the pipe, and that is pushing on the liquid water. And this creates pressure because the faucet is off. The water cannot escape, and that pressure builds up, creating a burst pipe. That's why you keep your cabinets open to allow heat underneath the cabinets near the pipes, or you turn a space heater on towards pipes that are facing an outside wall, and you keep the faucet dribbling so that there is a reduction of pressure. So the more that pipes are exposed to the cold, the more that they are susceptible to bursting. That would be in basements or in unheated areas such as attics and crawl spaces. I had a pipe burst in my garage once. So unfortunately, though, most people don't catch the water until there's been a quote flood. And of course, while the insured may feel that he or she has suffered a flood, flooding isn't covered. And if the sump pump is defective, the basement will quote flood. I would encourage adjusters to not automatically deny the claim because the insured says his basement is flooded and flooding isn't covered. We know that the insured isn't very familiar with what terms to use, and I don't think the insured would know that there's a whole lot of water in my basement where there wasn't before as a cause of loss, and it probably doesn't fit on the first notice of loss. Anyway, so I'm going to show you a couple of photographs from my claim where we had a burst pipe and the sump pump wasn't working unbeknownst to us. So we will start off with the pictures here showing that we had about an inch of water damage on the floor. And of course, it had been running for quite a bit of time. One of the things that was interesting to me is that I'm an adjuster, my husband is an adjuster, and even though we saw that we had a water damage claim, we immediately started thinking, oh my gosh, how are we going to be able to handle this claim? What are we doing? It was immediately overwhelming. And we're both adjusters with quite a few years' experience in between us. So if we are overwhelmed with our water damage, can you imagine what an insured feels like when he or she wakes up or comes home and sees an inch worth of damage to his or her structure? The issue, of course, is going to be, and I'm now showing you all of my dirty laundry because you can tell that I have skeletons in my closet, quite literally skeletons in my closet. But the issue is going to be uh, taking the insured and walking him through this. I mean, we knew, my husband and I knew what to do. We knew to get the furniture, the wood furniture up on blocks, which, I showed you here. But I've seen so many insurers and adjusters just forward a contents list to the insured and say, hey, you need to fill out what kind of contents were damaged or what kind of contents you had in this room. And an insured who is overwhelmed by this inch of water, by the fact that everything is flooded and wet now. Uh, and as what happened to us, we found out about it about 10 o'clock at night, and we were trying to get people in, and they didn't leave until 2 a.m. And then they came back the next day at 9 a.m. That, you know, we're tired, we're overwhelmed, we don't know what's going on. And a lot of times the adjuster will simply throw the inventory list at the insured and not help the insured. This is an opportune time to help the insured fill out the inventory list, because looking at this right here, as an insured, as a layperson, I'm not gonna know what's really important to you. Do you want to know all of these games? I have no idea how old these games are. They have been in my family for years. I played with them as a child. Do you want this basket or this tub right here? I don't know. Do I need to list every single piece of contents in these two moving boxes? Or do I just get the bottom part? You see, I don't know as an insured, and it doesn't help the industry if we are just throwing an inventory sheet to the insured and saying, hey, fill it out. Also, when we are looking for things in the water damage claims, you will see that a lot of times we have a restoration company involved. And I've taken pictures of the restoration work here. You can see that they took out our bricks and they've put down styrofoam there to keep the couch off of the water. But there's all of this going on, and as an insured, we don't know what is happening. Um, how, they're tearing up our house. They've torn out wood moldings here. They've torn out all of our carpeting. It is just a traumatic event. So even though you may have called out a restoration company and the restoration company is writing an estimate, I still encourage you as the adjuster to send out another appraiser or the field adjuster to help walk the insured through things, unless you do this very, very specifically and in great detail on the phone. So finally, what you would want to see is that you've got a new sump pump, which is ultimately what we got with a battery backup, to make sure that if the power went out, that the sump pump doesn't fail, which is what happened to us. We had the burst pipe and then we had the sump pump failure. Um, and that's nothing for the adjuster to do so much as the homeowner. So if homeowners are watching this, it's always a good idea to test your sump pump. They only last about 10 years, and you can do that by pouring a bucket of water down the sump pump, and the sump pump should kick on to reduce the water flow. And if you don't have that, get a battery backup, get a new sump pump, and then get a battery backup in case there is water or loss of electricity as well. I also want to encourage adjusters to ask the insureds, when was the last time that the sump pump was tested? What was the temperature in the house set at? Because again, remember that we're going to need to keep the house warm. Experts recommend at least at 55 degrees. And finally, beware of mold issues. Mold can grow in warm and damp areas. So it's real important that we get the area dried out, which is why we send those restoration companies so quickly. But I've read that mold can grow anywhere between 48 to 72 hours after getting wet. Send out a reservation of rights letter if necessary to let the insured know that mold wouldn't be covered, or maybe there's a supplement or something to that effect. If there is, send out a letter with that sublimit information, because the restoration company may charge the insured $5,000 for mold remediation, but the coverage is only 2,500, and the insured is expecting the insurer to pay the full 5,000. So it's always a good idea to not only tell the insured this, but put it down in writing. So this week I've discussed some burst pipes, sump pump issues, and flooding and water damage claims that actually happened in my house as an example. And homeowners are at a risk for a few different kinds of perils due to winter weather, and they may experience, quote, flooding from the burst pipe, but that's probably going to be covered because it's not the kind of flooding that we think of from excess rainwater or something to that effect of the inundation. Oh, here's Simon again with helping out with our vlog. You can't do this without Simon, I tell you what. Every insured handles claims differently, and every claim is different. That's what's fun about insurance, but there is litigation. I'm so distracted now that Simon is here, being in the litigated world that we're in. Go ahead and see below for some legalese. Very few claims go to a jury trial, and picking an expert that doesn't have a cat to help you look over the file is probably not going to be the best way to resolve a loss. As an expert witness and former claims adjuster with a cat who can help, I'm sharing my experiences on the art of adjusting. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your time.